Cardiovascular system or circulatory system is the transportation system of the body. It majorly consists of the three main structures: heart, blood and blood vessels. Heart is a muscular organ. The function of the heart is to pump blood to move the nutrients through the blood vessels, to absorb nutrition and remove the metabolic waste from the body. Heart is located right in the center between the two lungs and above the diaphragm. Its triangular end is tilted towards the left. That is why it's assumed to be on the left side. The size of the human heart is that of the size of a human fist, 12 cm in length and 9 cm in width. The heart is covered by a double layer membrane called pericardium, which is filled with pericardial fluid. This fluid protects the heart from any mechanical injuries and also prevent the friction between heartbeats. The heart is divided into four chambers: the two atria, auricles and two ventricles. Auricles are the upper chambers and ventricles are the lower chambers of the heart. There are blood vessels which enter the heart. They are superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, which enter the right auricle, and pulmonary veins which enter the left auricle. The superior vena cava and inferior vena cava bring the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle. Deoxygenated blood means the blood which has lower concentration of oxygen and more of carbon dioxide. So when this superior vena cava brings the deoxygenated blood, it brings it from the upper region of the body, that is the head, chest and arm. And inferior vena cava brings the deoxygenated blood from the lower region of the body, that is the legs and abdomen. And pulmonary veins comes from the lungs, and there are two pulmonary veins from each lung. So total 4 pulmonary veins which bring the oxygenated blood to the left auricle. Then there are blood vessels which leave the heart. They are pulmonary artery and aorta. Pulmonary artery arises from the right ventricle and it carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. And aorta arises from the left ventricle, which carries the oxygenated blood to the farthest point of the body. Then there are certain valves which are present between the auricles, ventricles and arteries to prevent the backflow of the blood during the contraction and circulation of the blood. Since the blood moves from the auricles to the ventricles, there is a possibility that blood may flow back, but these valves are present between the auricles and ventricles to prevent the backflow. So between the right auricle and right ventricle we have tricuspid valve. Between the left auricle and left ventricle we have bicuspid valve, also known as mitral valve. And between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery we have pulmonary semilunar valve. And between the left ventricle and aorta we have aortic semilunar valve. Now moving on to the circulation of the blood in heart. We can see the diagram here. RA means right auricle, LA left auricle, RV right ventricle, LV left ventricle. So it all begins with the contraction of the auricles. At this time the ventricles relax and are empty. So the blood flows easily from the auricles to the ventricles. Now at this time when the blood flows, the valves closes sharply to prevent the backflow. When the ventricles contract, then the blood from the ventricles move to the arteries, and these semilunar valves protect them from the backflow of the blood. And this cycle continues. Now coming to the next topic, that is heartbeat. Heartbeat is produced by a cardiac cycle which begins with the contraction of the atria followed by the contraction of the ventricles. Contraction phase is known as systole, relaxation phase is known as diastole. Each heartbeat lasts for about 0.85 seconds. So when the ventricles systole, then the ventricle diastole begins, followed by the atria diastole, and then there is a joint diastole. These sequence of events form the cardiac cycle. When we put a stethoscope on our chest, we can hear the sound lub dub, which is produced by our heart. So lub sound is produced when the valves, these tricuspid valve and bicuspid valve close sharply at the beginning of the ventricular systole. And dub sound is produced when these semilunar valves close sharply at the beginning of the ventricular diastole. The human heartbeat rate is 72 beats per minute. Now moving on to the second component, that is blood. The main function of the blood is to transport the digested food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, excretory waste, hormones and body heat throughout the body. And there are certain components of the blood, that is platelets, WBCs, RBCs and plasma. And third component, that is blood vessels. There are three blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart to any organ. Veins carry the blood to the heart from any organ, and capillaries are the hollow tubes which help in the relaxation and contraction of the blood flow. For example, if you feel very hot, your face becomes very red because of the increased blood flow. When you feel very cold, your face becomes blue because of the decreased blood flow. So that's all about circulatory system in a gist. Thank you.